Hello from me, Mark Shardlow. Today, well, what a night it was at the City Ground. And what does the result and performance mean for the second half of the season for Forest? We've got Notts County old boy and FA Cup viral star Hayden Hollis as the Magpies assess the departure of Dan Crowley. And it's the league only now for Mansfield Town. Welcome along to Team Talk. Well, what a game it was against Liverpool. Like being in a time warp, going back 20, 30 years, unbelievable. If you're with us on YouTube, we'd love to give us a like and follow. Thanks very much for being with us. We've been on Notts TV for a decade and we've got that Liverpool game and so much more to talk about with, well, the man who's coached and managed at Forest, Notts and Mansfield. It's our regular pundit, Charlie McFarland. We've also got a man who was the star of the FA Cup third round tie when he almost got a giant killing for Tamworth against Spurs, former Notts County scholar Hayden Hollis. And then we've got a man who used to play for Notts County, also a defender at Forest and at Celtic too, Kelvin Wilson. And Kelvin, we've got your former boss Billy Davies joining us in part two as well. Hayden, debut on the programme, man of the match against Spurs, and viral sensation after that little bit of skill that you showed. Just tell us about that bit of skill that's gone crazy.
I'd love to be able to, but I don't know what came over me. I've never done it before in my life. I think it was just more instinct, to be honest.
One of your players put you in a difficult position with three Spurs players coming onto you, and you sort of did a little drag back and turn and just nonchalantly knocked it out left to your left back.
Yeah, well, the way we play, usually, it's a touch in at the channel, so I think it was my first touch. My first touch let me down, so I put myself in trouble. So yeah, it was just instinct, and it came off, and once I did it, I thought to myself, what have I done there?
What a game, first of all. It's unbelievable, really, to think that Tamworth, true part-timers, can hold Spurs with most of their stars for 90 minutes. And I know you've sort of taken the accolades for that 25 seconds, but you were man of the match, which showed you a complete performance as well. What sort of game was it for you?
I think a lot of people say it was a big game. I don't think it was a big game. I think it's more of a big occasion. I don't think we was getting judged on whatever happened against Tottenham. Whatever happened. We did ourselves proud, but I think we probably shouldn't have won the game, but was unfortunate not to win it late on. We had two great chances, but we could have won it. And we were just saying before, it could have been one of the probably the biggest upsets of all time. But it wasn't to be, and we get judged on where we finish in the league, we do. So we've enjoyed that, but we've got to go back to the league now and stay in the division. What did
Ange Postecoglou say to you at the end?
He said to me, that's good enough to get you in the door here, meaning at Tottenham. But I said to him, I've not done that before and I never will again, so it's certainly not.
Well, his centre-halves are injured, Hayden. These two centre-halves have been injured for about 6-7 weeks. Yeah.
And let's put one other thing to bed, because I've read everywhere this week, plumber, Hayden Hollis. You've never been a plumber.
I've never. Do you know what? I've been sent that a few times. I'm not on any social media whatsoever, so I don't see much of it, but I get things sent to me. I've never been a plumber. I do not know where that's come from.
Every newspaper, every website has been plumber Hayden Hollis, but you're firmly former Notts County player and now coaching at Chester.
My missus said to me I'd be more of a Euster if I was a plumber.
Love it. Right, I'm going to come back to you later in the programme. We'll talk about whose shirt you got at the end of the match too. But the wins are just coming down at the City Ground and elsewhere for Nottingham Forest. I mean, they're going to Exeter in the fourth round of the FA Cup after a comfortable win over Luton at the weekend. They made 11 changes and goals from Ryan Yates and Ramon Sosa saw them through. But then that memorable night last night, it was just unbelievable at the City Ground. The noise, the 70s revisited, end-to-end excitement, and Liverpool piling on the pressure at the end. A classic Forest break opened the scoring after 8 minutes. Callum Hudson-Odoi brings down a loose ball, spots Anthony Elanga, who lays it off to Chris Wood, and he did what he just keeps doing, finding the back of the net. Forest defence was outstanding, Murillo blocking, Sells throwing himself everywhere. Finally, they conceded from a corner just seconds after Diego Jota came off the bench. 1-1, and here's what Nuno had to say.
I think it was entertaining. My first words must go to our fans, especially in the final minutes when the game was stretched. They were the ones that keep our players running and going, so we cannot thank them enough. The atmosphere at the City Ground was immense. The game by themselves, I think the first half was good in terms of organisation. Liverpool had the ball. but was not able to break us, didn't create too many situations. We knew that in the second half they were going to react, especially after we score, and it was a beautiful moment and clinical from Chris. And when the game got stretched and they have space to run, they become so dangerous.
I just love Nuno's smile, and he's got plenty to smile about at the moment. Kelvin, what did you make of last night?
Yeah, I think, Nuno just hit the nail on the head. I think the first half, there was really organised. You could see straight away within the first 5 minutes how Forest were going to play. Low block and then try and get them on a counter-attack, and it paid off within 8 minutes, Chris Wood scoring the goal. What surprised me more was how Liverpool didn't have a clue how to respond to it. They were shocked. I think they was hoping they was going to come toe-to-toe with them, at the City ground, but Forest, Nuno's, read the script and probably looked back at games last season and thought, these occasions, let's just play on the counter-attack. Probably wouldn't say just these occasions, it's probably been Forest all season. It's typical Forest, wasn't it? So, yeah, I think the game plan didn't play particularly well. Let's not try and override that. But the organisation of the team was fantastic. Each player, they'd make a tackle or a foul and they're sprinting back into position to, they knew the role to a T. So I think organisation and what Nuno wanted from the players, they did it to a T. Performance-wise, it wasn't the best, but they got the job done. If you said it was going to take 4 points from Liverpool this season, I think anyone would have snatched your hand off.
Absolutely. Charlie, what was your analysis?
Man, the two teams weren't at their best last night, so that made it such an entertaining game. I thought there was a lot of loose passes from both sides, and Kelvin just touched on it. Liverpool didn't know what to do with the Nottingham Forest defending deep. I thought there were some really good performances for the back four of Nottingham Forest, getting blocks in, getting tackles in. But the main players who have been great all season, the Hudson-Odois, the Gibbs-Whites and the Alangas, when Forest did get on the break a lot at times, they gave the ball away very sloppily, very cheap, 10-yard passes that they should make and make the carry on with the counter-attack. There's one instance where Hudson-Odois broke down the left and Oleana and Alanga are sprinting down, they're on their own, and there's one Liverpool defender, and he actually passes it to the Liverpool defender, and you think, oh, get that, you're a Premier League player, get the pass right. This is from a coach and a manager's point of view.
Hang on.
Don't hang on me,
no,
Matt.
I'm going to hang on.
Right?
This is Forest, who drew with Liverpool, who are second in the Premier League, and you're being Grinch-like here.
No, I'm not.
Come
listen,
on, what do you want?
No.
What do you want?
What I want is Premier League players to pass the ball to one of those players when there's nobody around them, and it's a simple pass. Listen, last year, I said it last night, if you're sitting and you're saying next season we'll be playing Liverpool, who are top of the league, Nottingham Forest, who are third, and every week I say I expect Forest to go and win the game, whoever they're playing against, who it's Liverpool this season, because of what they're doing. But when they don't pass the ball to their own players, 10-yard passes, 20-yard passes,
God,
it's
I
not
bet
good
you're
enough.
a bundle of laughs to watch a match with, Charlie.
Listen, I'm loving what Nottingham Forest are doing this season. Yeah. That is great. Every week I look forward to watching them play. But when they don't pass the ball to each other and they don't play the best, and Liverpool didn't play at the best ever.
Say something good. Just
give
me something good.
No, I'm just putting in context how the game was. Right. And I've sat with European Cup winners last night, and they're on the same view. It was very sloppy. Forest weren't at the best. Liverpool weren't at the best. But it bode for a fantastic game. And the man of the match was the goalkeeper. So what is that? For me, not Chris Wood, who I love Chris Wood, but Matt Sells, he was the goalkeeper. So that tells you a little bit of a story as well.
Well, I'll give Sells and Murillo man of the match. Hayden, I'm just going to explain here, because on Sunday you were playing the FA Cup against Spurs. Fantastic, millions watching on TV. You weren't able to watch Forest last night because...
Yeah, we had a right from the top right down to the bottom. We was in the Birmingham Senior Cup last night.
Okay, where were you playing?
Bodemere, St Mark's. I didn't play,
right,
so we made a lot of changes.
Yeah, fine. Okay, changes. So just let's get Kelvin, come back on Charlie. What are you going to say that's positive about the game last night?
I think the organisation. I understand where Chaz is coming from, though, Mark.
Yeah.
I'm not just gonna, I do understand. It wasn't a cup match. It's not, Forest are where they are in the league, so you need to perform at that standard. So I agree with Chaz. You expect your players to find that pass, but in the defence of Forest, I think what they went out to do, they did the game plan to a T. Obviously, the technical side, you think that's just going to come natural. Them players don't need coaching to pass the ball to your players. But I just think the organisation as a team was fantastic. Yeah, it could have been better going forward. Of course it could.
And you guys centre back. So just talk to me about Murillo last night. I was watching last night, and Fletcher on commentary made the point as well that.
What does he know about football?
Well, he sees a fair amount.
Well,
but
it doesn't mean to say you know anything about football.
Murillo seems to be everywhere. He seems to be in the right place at the right time throughout the 90 minutes plus. Is that a skill? Is that just luck on that night? Where does that come from?
I don't know if it's luck. I think it is a skill. I played with a player like that. Wes Morgan, just seemed like a magnet to the ball, especially in his own box. Murillo is just, I think me and Chaz were speaking, off camera, that he does some unbelievable things where you're like, wow, off the mark for him to go close down players is brilliant. It's probably the best I've seen at it. He gets there and he always gets a foot in. But then he does something crazy, like he'll try and shoot from the halfway line, or
which he tried last night.
Yeah, but I guess that's his character, and I guess with the right coach, he can install a little bit of discipline in him to calm down and maybe. I'm not saying Nuno's not the right coach, but I think this is only his second season in the Premier League in England.
Can I ask Kelvin a question?
We're going to come back in part two with your old bosses, Billy Davies, to look at Forest and how we think they'll go for the rest of the season. So join us in a moment. Hello and welcome back to Team Talk with myself, Mark Shardlow, Charlie McParland, Kelvin Wilson, Hayden Hollis, and now we're joined by a former Forest manager who took them to 2 semi-final playoffs. It is, of course, Billy Davies. Hello, Billy.
Good afternoon, guys.
Kelvin here, who obviously you managed, and Charlie, who you worked alongside. So some old friends to see you off on this part of Team Talk.
Well, it's lovely to catch up with these guys. Obviously, wonderful player in Kelvin, a special player to have in your club and your team. And certainly gave us some great memories. And obviously, Charlie McParland, I think we should try and stop it there in relation to trying to talk Charlie McParland up.
I'm going to second you there, Billy. Charlie was pretty miserable in the first part of this programme, talking about Forest Liverpool last night. He was pretty critical of Forest. I don't know, what did you make of the match last night?
Well, obviously, it was a very... In the first half, I thought that Forest dominated in the strength department. I thought Liverpool were getting brushed aside too easily. Forest really were very competitive. We know the style of play that they play with this direct counter-attack play. And of course, I've got a fantastic outball from the goalkeeper up to Chris Woods. But certainly their style of play is always going to cause problems. They've had a fantastic season. They're now sitting second in the league. And another very, very important point.
Yeah, Charlie, I mean, probably critical was a bit harsh on you. I think you felt they were a bit sloppy. They didn't look after the ball.
Let me explain. It wasn't critical of it, especially the forward players, the Alanga, who's been fantastic, Hudson-Odoi, Gibbs White. And I've got 2 centre-halves sitting here. And I thought when those players got in possession of the ball, for Premier League players, they were giving the ball away too easy. And they had some fantastic moments to finish off a counter-attack, but they gave the ball away cheaply. They gave the ball away in the middle third at times with little flicky dickies. Then that adds to the 2 centre-halves and the back 4, and the goalkeeper, for me, was man of the match. Murillo was fantastic, Milenkovic, and they're having to defend for their life. Yeah. Kelvin, Hayden, would you be digging out those players for that?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. If the ball's constantly coming back and it's being given away cheaply by the midfielders, yeah, you're going to be having a go. And so, especially when you can see what's in front of you and what's going on, why the ball's being given away. If it's being given away cheaply after, Liverpool keep the ball a lot as well. So when you get the ball, you want to keep it for a little bit. And if the midfielder giving it away so easily, which, Gibbs White probably was a little bit too often, trying little flicks here or there when just keep the ball for a little bit.
Yeah. So Billy, what if you were managing last night? You know, what would you how would you handle that? You know, at the end of the game, what sort of message do you give to the team? How do you approach like the day after the game like that when you analyse the match? What sort of things would you be doing?
Well, I think what you need to remember here, Mark, is that Forest have got that style of play where they've got, and I do laugh, I must admit, over the last number of months, I've listened to many people on many courses talking about how the old-fashioned number 9 is now long forgotten. And now they're playing with these inverted wingers, putting somebody up through the middle and playing with an inverted winger up there rather than an old-fashioned number 9. Well, I'm sorry, the old-fashioned number 9 and Chris Woods is a fantastic addition to Forest. What he brings is excellent. The only criticism that you would have is that this club, on average, in every single game, is averaging roughly 39% possession in every match. So that tells you the type of style of play that they want to play in relation to the possession. That may be the reason why the ball was given away so much, because they are a counter-attack team. They do like to win it and then break forward quickly and then try and get that finish. So I think the possession stat, they do sit at the bottom of the Premier League. I think that's concerning. But the most important stat out of it all is that Forest are sitting second. They've had a fantastic season, and they will be quite comfortable and happy to continue to play that style of play that's brought them great success.
Well, let's have a look at the table, because as you rightly said, at the moment, at the time we're recording this, Forest are second in the Premier League. We're more than halfway through the season. Where do you realistically see Forest finishing at the end of the season, Billy?
Well, I've said before, Mark, that for me, this is a top 4 club now. They have spent over the last 3 seasons excess 400 million. There was 60 players come in, 38 players went out, and they've had tremendous support from above in relation to bringing in additions, adding to the squad. Of course, I've said Steve Cooper has done a wonderful job, and then in came Nuno. But if you look at the first 2 seasons, they finished 16th and then 17th. Now, year 3, you're now seeing the true potential of this club. And I've got no doubt that this is now a very competitive top 4, top 6 club.
I think if the Forest will go 17 games left, Billy, if Forest, and it's a big ask, if Forest won 9 of those games, I think they'll be in a European spot.
Yeah, I agree with that, Charlie. I don't think there's, and even the way they play, I mean, they've got nothing to fear now, and you can see they've got a great energy about them. They've got a great togetherness about them, which is very important. But also, more importantly, is that belief. And you can see as the season going on, they're picking up great results against very good sides. And there's absolutely no reason now why they can't go and finish in those European spots.
Forest, what we're talking about, I don't think Forest were at their best last night, and I don't think Liverpool were at their best. And that bode for an exciting game, because I thought Liverpool were giving the ball away cheaply. And when Forest were in good possession of the ball, and like it should be a simple pass for a Premier League player, they gave it away then. So it was sort of end-to-end stuff. And yeah, Liverpool took control a bit the second half.
But isn't that this season? You know, Liverpool weren't at their best. Man City aren't at their best. Chelsea aren't at their best. Spurs aren't at their best. Arsenal aren't at their best. You know, no one's playing, other than Forest, with their results, to their potential. What do you think, Billy?
I think that's a great point, Mark, because if you do look at this league, and you're quite right, you look at the Spurs and you look at Man U, you look at Liverpool, even Liverpool over the last number of weeks have not been at their best. So Manchester City, there's a whole range of clubs in this Premier League at the minute that are not firing on all cylinders. And that's why I believe that this could be the season for Forest to get to that top 4, not only because of the inconsistency of the other clubs, but also because of the quality that's been brought in, and of course the belief they've now got.
I think the teams that are breathing down their neck, the Newcastles who are on a right run, you know, the Aston Villa on their day, the teams that are the Chelseas, you know, it's how Forest handle that pressure of the teams breathing down their neck. But one of the good things for Nottingham Forest is they've been away to Arsenal, they've been away to Chelsea, they've been away to Liverpool. You know, they've been away. So these teams are coming back to the City ground. And every week, even if it's away from home, we've still got a feeling. We've got the feeling that Nottingham Forest can go and win or get a point at these places.
Yeah,
so it's how they handle that pressure.
Yeah, if we look at the games coming up, Billy, I mean, I think the one that strikes me is that the contrast is this weekend when they're playing Southampton at home. I mean, that's such a change in gear for the excitement and the hype with the Liverpool game, and then it's Southampton this weekend. If you were managing Forest, how would you be preparing mentally for the Southampton game?
Well, you rub out the names, Mark, and you take on the next match and you give the respect to the next opponent. And it's very, very important that you don't just approach a Liverpool or a Man City or a Manchester United or whatever. This is the Premier League. And we've got to respect every single club, top and bottom, because they're all capable on the day of picking up 3 points. And on the day home and away, they're all capable of turning up and making life very difficult.
Coming up, Bournemouth, Brighton, Exeter in the Cup, Fulham. I mean, I think we said it earlier in the programme, though, that this season you go into a game thinking that Forest could win any game against anyone this season, which is how important is that mentality, Billy, when you're on a roll and you believe that you can win a game, any game?
Yeah, well, it's momentum, isn't it? You've got to get that momentum, and Forest have done that since the start of the season. And once you've got that confidence and the momentum and belief, then of course you look forward to that next game. What Forest now need to hope is they stay away from injury, they stay away from the suspensions. Important key players don't go missing, because there is a very tough second part of the season coming up. And again, Mark, you cannot separate the top from the bottom in this division. This is a Premier League. Every club is very capable of winning matches.
And would you go knocking on the chairman's door now, saying, like, I've got you second, possibly third after this latest round of matches. If we want to cement a European place, we need a player or two. What would your view be?
It depends on. I really difficult to answer that question, Mark, because you really don't know. What they think they need. Do they need? There's already been, as I said earlier, there's already been huge amounts of money spent on this club over the last 3 seasons. And there's a massive turnaround between 60 coming in, 30 going out, and excess 400 million spent over 3 seasons. So without really knowing what the manager's feelings is, and without being on that training ground and understanding the slight injuries that you may have or the little things that come up over a long, hard season, very, very difficult to say. But I'm sure that the manager won't refuse an offer of a new signing or two, Mark. I think he would be quite happy with that.
Just on that one, Mark, I think that Mr. Marianakis, like he'll just go and do it.
Yeah.
I think he's that type of chairman. I think he's quite a wealthy chap. But obviously you have to have a look at the financial fair play, which comes into it. But I think he'll go and do it and maybe say, we need a striker. Yeah. We'll go and get him.
Just do it.
I think he's that type.
Yeah, Billy, I want to say thank you. Looking forward to you being in town on the 20th Feb. You got Wes Morgan, hopefully, and Lee Camp there who know a thing or two. So thank you for joining us again. We look forward to seeing you next month.
Thanks very much, Billy.
Yeah, it's a pleasure seeing you guys, and Kelvin, nice to see the lot of you here. And I look forward to February. I hope you're going to be there, Kelvin. I'm going to tell a story or two about you.
I'll be there, Billy. I'll be down.
And thanks very much, guys. It's a pleasure joining you.
Good to see you, Billy.
Thanks.
It's if you want a chance to win a competition, it's in the Albert Hall. It's the 20th of February. It's called It Is What It Is, Billy Davies and Friends. It also stars people like Wes Morgan and Lee Camp. If you want to have a chance to win tickets, notstv.com. Billy and Friends, submit your entry online. Full terms and conditions are there. After the break, we'll be talking Mansfield. Hello and welcome back to Team Talk with myself, Mark Shardlow, Charlie McParland, Kelvin Wilson and Hayden Hollis. And now we're going to talk all things Mansfield Town. The Stags are out of the FA Cup and are preparing for their league game with second place Wycombe. The tie with Wigan turned in a magical few minutes for Theo Asgard. He opened the scoring with a wonderful leap for a power header that hit the back of the net just into the second half, and he scored again shortly after with another great goal on the edge of the box with a finesse shot that went top corner. Mansfield had a few chances, but they just couldn't get it past the keeper last
I think they'll be pretty relieved to get in at 0-0 half time, but you have to get a goal when you start the game as well as we did, and I thought we played some brilliant stuff. The only thing was quality of our crosses wasn't quite good enough. but it was bobbling around in the 6-yard box. We couldn't quite get a solid finish on it. But that was the only thing, just to finish. But I've enjoyed the way that we played and went at them and caused them problems. The game won't stay the same over the whole 90 minutes, and we heard some words being said through the dressing room wall at half time, and so we said to the players, be ready for it. And disappointing with the first goal that we conceded. I think we had 2 or 3 opportunities to clear it.
Well, hands up. I mean, I was watching Forest, so I didn't see it last night. I've seen some of the highlights of it. Same with you, I guess, Charlie. You were at the City Ground last night. Are you worried about a cup defeat at this stage?
Listen, it's disappointing because, like Nigel, he likes to progress in the cups. You had Fulham coming up, and it's a nice game for the players, for the manager, for the fans. But let's not forget what's went on, all through the season with Mansfield Town. Nigel will be disappointed, the players will be disappointed, especially when they're sort of more or less in control. Yeah. And you should always fear a team, Nigel just touched on it there, when you've gave a good account of yourself the first half and the manager's given them a right kick up the backside at half time, they're going to come out like all guns blazing and they're going to have a right go at you. So you have to be ready, you have to be prepared. And what happened is they got a couple of quick goals. Then in Wigan, they're no slouches. They're a very young team. They've got quick players, quick wide players, lots of energy. It's another club that's been in the Premier League who's in League One now. Yeah. Disappointing, but they'll dust themselves down and they'll move on.
Yeah, it was interesting. Nigel was saying that at half time he could hear the noise and the Wigan coaching team really having a go at them coming through the dressing room wall, so they knew what to expect. Do you get that at games where you hear the half time hairdryer or whatever is going on from the opposition, and what does that do when you're in the changing room? Yeah,
it does. Of course you hear it, and I think it can go either way. I think if I would hear that as a player, the other team getting a rollicking, it's kind of enjoyable. You think you as guys you're doing well, but they're going to come out second half, especially if you've had a good first half and you've not capitalised on it and got yourself a goal. You do always think, oh God, these we've had the worst of them. They're only going to get better. So I think it can go either way, and obviously it did go the other way for Mansfield last night. They've come out and their rollicking that they got obviously worked.
Yeah. And Hayden, the come down after, Mansfield, third round, the potential of a game against Fulham and then out of the cup. What about, you've experienced that this week really, that you had an amazing game. You probably thinking back at that game and thinking at the points where you could have beaten Spurs, and then you, like you said, you have to go and play in the Birmingham Senior Cup. How does the mentality affect the team, the squad?
It shouldn't. I say the start of this week, this time last week, we was in all competitions. We lost in the FA Trophy on the Tuesday night before Tottenham, and we lost in the FA Cup. So we're out of two cups in 1 week. But as I say, for me, I always think the league table doesn't lie, and me personally, at Tamworth at the minute, we have to survive. I think if we would have happily making the third round's just a bonus, getting Tottenham's just a bonus. We have to stay in the division because ultimately that's what we all get judged on at the end of the season. Yeah.
So let's look at the league table for League One. And Charlie, I guess, is the aim now for Mansfield to make a playoff place?
Listen, it's not the be-all. We keep saying if Mansfield, again, if Nigel will quietly be thinking to himself, where he thinks his team can finish. But again, just getting promoted into this league, and there's some big clubs in that League One. If Mansfield were to finish in 9th position, I think everybody would be, delighted with what's going on. And staying in the league, they would be delighted with what's going on. And everything else in a minute is a Brucey bonus. Yeah. And they've been very competitive in the league, even when they lost the 5 in a row. And it's not good. You'd rather play poorly and win football matches. But they were actually competitive, well in games, on top of games, and it was just little things that were letting them down. They had a bit bad defending, missing a few chances, and they didn't have Lee Gregory at that time as well. Lee Gregory comes back in the team, all of a sudden they won 4 out of 5 in the Christmas period, after that little. So there's a lot of stuff going on.
And new signing, Matthew Craig coming in, 21 from Spurs. I mean, you've been at clubs, I'm sure, where players arrive and you don't know an awful lot about them. I mean, he's come from Spurs, so he's obviously got a bit of pedigree somewhere, but it's a whole new world, really, for him coming into the Mansfield Town team.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I've played in many teams where we've signed players, especially foreign players, and you don't know much about. But if they come from a good club, you know, like Tottenham, you do expect quality. It will be a massive eye-opener for the lad, I'm sure, you know, even from the facilities. I'm not saying that Mansfield have got bad facilities, but I'm sure Tottenham's are, I know they're incredible. So it's just for him to have to adapt to all of that. And then obviously I'm more than sure as well that League One's going to be a lot more physical than the Premier League or the under-23s that he's been playing in. So yeah, he'll have to adapt to it, but it will only do him good in his career going forward. And hopefully Mansfield can get the best out of him and it can help them.
Massive chance for the lad.
Definitely,
He's coming into a good environment with a good manager, a good bunch of players. Yeah. So it's up to him now to get out in that training ground and do the best he can, get himself in the team regular and do the business. It's a great...
So talking of Spurs, you were playing them at the weekend. Man of the match. I just wanted to know about shirts. You talked about what Ange Postecoglou said to you at the end. Did you, at the end of the game, are you thinking, like, I'd like a shirt here, and did you get any?
Sorted it well before the end. I asked him during when I was marking up from a corner. Something I've always done. I've always collected shirts, just love shirts. I've got every shirt I've ever played in. Even when I've played against lads that I've played with, you know, even like I've got some Hartlepool ones, Yeovil ones, I've got some bad ones, but I've got some really good ones. Not bad ones, but not disrespectful. Not as good as the others.
Sorry for that, all you players, by the way.
So who did you get? Who did you get at the weekend?
I got Madison's and Solanke's, and they're probably up there with probably nearly the best I've got.
Really, who else have you got?
I've got Galatasaray one. We played those pre-season. Scott Loach, he was at England under 21s at one point, so I've got his England one. Yeah, wow. So I've got some good ones as well.
Well, and do you collect shirts as well? Because you've had a few.
Yeah, in the past
games.
I have. A bit like Hayden, players that I've played against, I've swapped shirts against, and then obviously playing in the Champions League, it's a great opportunity to get some great shirts.
Come on in, babe them, Kelvin.
No,
come on.
Messi, Xavi, Kaká.
I'll swap you for the over one.
Yeah. So there's I had a great opportunity to play in Europe over 2 seasons. So quite a few Inter Milan, Juventus teams like that.
And do you go into the game thinking I'm going to get that shirt at the end? I mean, how did Kaká come about?
The Kaká one, that was just a nice guy. You know, we played them and I came off at half time and I just thought I was walking at the side of him, so I just thought I'm going to ask him. So I said, Kaká, can I get your shirt? And he was like, yeah, of course. So he took it off, gave it me, and I didn't think to take mine off.
Time?
Yeah. I did think I was going to get a right rollicking off Lenny as well, but I thought I'm just doing it. So as I've got his shirt, I didn't take mine off. I've just walked on and he's watched me walk by and then he shouted, Wilson, can I get yours? And I said, yeah, of course. So he's just a nice guy, you know, he didn't know who I was, so he just waited and, you know, asked for my shirt. So yeah.
Some Spanish mansion somewhere, there's a shirt with
probably
Wilson on the
back. Probably cleans his car with mine, to be fair. But yeah, it's just again with Xavi as well. I had a drugs test after the Barcelona game. So obviously 2 number 6s. What happens with a drug test, you get a number pulled out and that number for both teams. So I literally just sat with him for an hour, just had a beer, because we have to obviously try and go to the toilet. So we had a beer and just talking to him and got him to sign the shirt and stuff. So yeah.
Amazing. Charlie, how about your shirt collection?
We didn't do that in the 80s. If I had, I'd have been following Kenny Dalglish all over the pitch, or Graham Souness and people like that, or Glenn Hoddle. But it just, you know, when we played these teams when Notts were in the top league, I'm sure I had not bad a collection. I don't know if they would want a Charlie McParlin shirt, but I played in Tokyo in the Asian Cup when I was playing in Hong Kong against Kawasaki Verde, and there's a centre half there called Pereira who played for Brazil, and there was also a striker, Bismarck, who played for Brazil. He scored 4 goals that night against us, and I scored 2 for our team, Eastern Athletic. And when you look up the game and the scores, it goes Bismarck 4 and it goes Eastern Athletic, and there's a blank. So I'm not even got my name on there. But I swapped with Pereira, who was a top Brazilian, and I've still got the shirt in the house. He's got my shirt. I don't know where that'll be, but it wasn't really done in the 80s, you know, or for the 3 seasons we were in the top league with some wonderful players who, if it was like that now, I would have been like, yes, come on, I'd have been right running off the pitch trying to grab their shirt off them.
My biggest regret, obviously, I was a young boy and I was part of the team that went to play Juventus. And obviously for me, that's a chance in life. I never got a shirt. I never got one of their shirts. So from that day on, from then, I've always collected them. But that's my biggest regret. I wish I'd have got one of them.
That was the Notts County special
Centenary,
midweek game, Centenary game.
Yeah, like
Centenary.
2011, I think it was, yeah. But just remind when he's saying he's got Barcelona, Juventus and that. And I had one chance to get one of them and I didn't do it.
Yeah. Did you get any other mementos from the weekend? Sort of the programme or anything like that?
I've got a programme, yeah. But I'm not really a collector of anything. I just collect shirts, other shirts.
Oh. Great chat. I've loved hearing about those shirts. Very envious of you, Kelvin. I'm going to come and have a look at them as well. I promise that. Right, that's it for now. But after the break, we'll be putting Notts County under the microscope after their game was postponed, and we'll be talking about what signings they could be making as the season nears to an end. See you shortly. Hello and welcome back to Team Talk with myself, Mark Shardlow, Charlie McParland, Kelvin Wilson and Hayden Hollis. So to Notts County, their game at Grimsby was called off, which I think was pretty rubbish. They also lost their star man, Dan Crowley, who wanted to leave the club and has moved to MK Dons. So County were due to play on TV at Grimsby on Saturday lunchtime. Grimsby, as you know, Charlie, I'm a big fan of Grimsby and going to Grimsby. I follow them on social media. They were putting out posts all week saying the match was definitely on, despite the -5 temperatures, and the match was called off around 90 minutes before kick-off after the referee's inspection. The Pies put out their own statement on social media explaining their frustration with the decision, especially for the fans who'd already set off for the match. The club said that any fans who bought tickets will have their loyalty points honoured, but there's no date yet for when it'll be played. I think it was appalling, really. I mean, I think, I'm no weatherman, but it was pretty cold last week. It was -5. The frost was in the garden. You'd think there'd be a doubt over that match, as there was in most matches that were being played at the weekend. Categorically, all week, it was this match is going on. The frost covers are on. The pitch looks great, and then 100 minutes before kick-off, fans have already set off.
When it's been minus all week,
Yeah.
and it's -1 on the Friday, then the forecast on the Saturday is -4.
Yeah.
So it's even colder. So there should be an early call. Again, it's a disgrace. The fans are suffering.
Yeah.
Because they're all travelling up there. They're all up at the game, right? They've spent money on their travel. Disgraceful.
Yeah.
No,
you can't help feeling like, there's
it's
pressure because there's a TV game and they want to put the match on, and I mean a lot of money for Grimsby and they're trying to be positive. But I don't know, have you had games cancelled last minute when you've been playing?
No, I think my early days when I was at Notts, the games got cancelled, but I think it used to be like a 9 o'clock pitch inspection, and then you find out by 11, and then you're doing a running session by 12 if it's called off. So how it got to 100 minutes before kick-off that they told him it's off, I don't understand that.
It's going to be below.
It's not going to warm
all
up.
day.
Yeah.
That's the thing,
It's below
Yeah.
all day.
It's -4 all day.
But obviously, I think what it is that obviously at that level, Grimsby want the money, so they're trying their hardest to get the game on. But you can't force these issues.
You can't work miracles.
No, exactly.
No.
Yeah.
If it's going to be -4, it's -4. It's not going to change.
And I mean, Notts, when they were in the conference a couple of years ago, they had some bad experiences of going down to Dover and getting matches
one of
you
these
knew
seasons.
would never take place. But you go down there and you know it's the inevitable. You're expecting it. I guess that's part of conference life as well.
Yeah, I think it happens at every level, even League 2 and League 1. I think it happens everywhere. It's not so much the players you feel sorry for, because at the end of the day, that's your job.
Yeah.
You get paid to travel. If it's off, it's off. It's the fans you feel sorry for that have spent their money getting down there, and then they've got to go back on a Tuesday night or whenever that is.
Yeah, agreed. What about Dan Crowley then, leaving Notts County? I've loved watching Dan Crowley at Notts. I think he's been mostly a great player. He's certainly great on the eye, especially in a forward position. Big hit as Notts are looking to get promotion out of League 2.
I really enjoy watching Dan Crowley play. I think he's a very good player at that level. He gets on the ball, he scores goals, he creates goals. has too many touches sometimes and should play the way he's facing and get it going a bit quicker. But I think he's been a really good player for Notts County Football Club. And I'm really disappointed he's leaving Notts County. I don't know the reasons, if it's financial.
Could be. I mean,
it could be.
The club statements pretty much said that they didn't want him to go. He wanted to go. The money was right. Had to be done. What do you think to that?
I can't say 100%, but if you're asking my opinion, I'd say it's strongly to do with money. You know, MK Dons are lower than Notts County. Then yeah, they've been in the league above and stuff, but they're not a bigger club than Notts County as well. For me, it's financial wise gone, which is fair enough. You know, each player to their own. It's just a short career. You got to earn what you got to earn. But I would say it's financial. Yeah, there's no other logic to it for me.
Well, let's have a look at the table, because you can see, you know, Notts are sixth. I think it's wide open this season for automatic promotion. Yeah. As someone who's committed for 3 years to a club, Hayden, yeah, it does feel that, you know, when you're knocking on the door and getting promotion, to walk out and go to one of your rivals does leave a bitter taste in the mouth.
It does, but again, you say you never know what's going on in his life. You know, is it closer to a relationship that he's got there, his family? You just don't know what's going on behind closed doors. So it'd be probably a bit harsh for me to sit here and judge. Yeah. But what I do know, I know Scott Lindsay, the manager at MK Dons, I was with him at Forest Green, and they're probably very similar to Notts. They play total football. So he's moving to a club that he probably feels very comfortable at as well.
Yeah, and I know he was courted in the summer, he probably almost moved in the summer. And like you said, I think that's a very valid point, that when football fans judge, you don't know what's going on underneath the bonnet, relationships, anything like that as well, that can play an important part in those decisions.
It's a knife in the heart for Notts County. They gave him the platform, and he's taken it. He's performed really well. Is it game-changing money? Like, who knows? But I'd love to. If it's for personal reasons, I understand. But if it's for financial, surely Notts County could have matched what MK Dons are giving them, because you have to show that ambition for Notts County if we want to get to the championship. You know, you have to spend that money.
And if we, just look ahead at the games coming up, starting with Accrington this weekend, what about from a squad and a dressing room point of view? When you're going in for the final run, you're in a decent position, but you lose one of your key players, Kelvin. Does that affect the mood in the dressing room?
I wouldn't say it affected our mood in our dressing room when it happened to us, when Nicky Shorey went from left back from playing for us at Forest and we were second in Championship, and he went and then we finished in the playoffs. It does affect the team sometimes. Yeah, that affected us. I can't go back there and say and remember that it affected me personally, but obviously affected us as a team. You know, how good he's been will probably affect the team, yeah, if he's that good of a player and, he helps the team. I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be okay. I think they've got a good enough squad too. I don't think that one player is going to make a difference in that position.
So what about, if we look at the January signings, and we've still got a little bit of time left. Notts County have made 3 so far. Zach Johnson coming from Sunderland. He came on as substitute in the Cup at the weekend. He's a defender and probably cover for Lucas Ness and Macari, who are injured. We've got Charlie Whittaker from Everton, who's played England under-18s as a striker cover. And then Will Jarvis, who has come in as a winger from Hull, who's been, he's played a fair amount of football.
7 games.
Yeah.
Doesn't inspire me, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt until they go out on the pitch. I'd like to see Notts County go out and get players who have been promoted out of that league, or they've played in the higher league, to go and get them over the line.
And is that the key, do you think? Because, we've said it so many times this season, we feel there's a big opportunity here for Notts to get promoted. Notts operate under a pretty strict financial arrangement with their data, which is great. But is this an opportunity where, or could this happen every season, where you think, just spend a little bit more money, just have 1 or 2 more players and we'll get over the line?
Well, if this starts happening every year, because I still think they've got a good enough squad to go up automatic. Yeah. But if this keeps happening every season, where you're letting players, he's very influential, Dan Crowley. when he plays, everything goes through him. Everything. He's on that ball all the time. I think he's got 10 goals, he's got like 10 assists. And every year, the fans will start to get disgruntled if they're not bringing them 3 special players to get them over the line. And this season, because of the big boys for last year, Stockport, Wrexham, Mansfield, they're out of the league. And I look at Walsall are okay. They're not brilliant, they're sufficient. They're not County have got better players than Walsall. And you look at the gap, people might think, God, you're crazy, Charlie. But I'm not, I'm looking at it. But again, this is a big knife in the heart, him leaving for MK Dons.
I can think of many reasons why people might think you're crazy, Charlie, and that's just one of
them.
them.
There's a lot of other things how people think I'm crazy as well. Don't worry about that over the years.
I think what you get with the young boys, it's a real eye opener for them. It's what I call in terms of going into real football. You know, it's completely different to under 21s football. We was talking about earlier about development, and when you go into the leagues, they're about winning. You know, the proper leagues, and it's a big risk. When I was at Notts, it's a risk. We had Callum McGregor and Jack McGrealish, and look what they've gone on to achieve. Do you know what I mean? So it's a gamble that a manager has to take, because one of those boys could be the next big thing somewhere. You just don't know.
Yeah, and Greg Abbott is turning out pretty decent for Notts at the moment. Right, we're going to move swiftly over to look at the weekend, and here's your predictions for the weekend. Forest against Southampton at home on Sunday. It's 2 o'clock. After the Liverpool game, they come down to play in the bottom of the league.
Potential banana skin, but I fancy Nottingham Forest to win the football match.
Okay, Hayden, how would you see this game?
Yeah, well, look at the league, you'd fancy Forest, wouldn't you? But you never know. It's a funny old game, isn't it?
Yeah. Calvin?
I think City ground. I think Forest, win.
Carry on, another win. Mansfield Town against Wickham at home on Saturday at 3 o'clock. They came so close at Wickham.
Yeah, I'm going to go home win.
Hayden?
It's a tough one. Don't want to go against them. Point draw.
Yeah, I think I'd take a draw against Wickham.
I think Wickham will win that one.
Right, okay, we've got the spread there. And then Notts County against Accrington Stanley away on Saturday at 3 o'clock. Accrington's struggling, didn't do well in the FA Cup. What do you think?
Notts County win. I'm going for the 3 again. I got them right the other week there. And you know what the pleasing thing's been this season? On numerous occasions, the 3 clubs have won on the same day.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm going to leave you there because you're being optimistic. So I love that. Hayden?
Yeah, again, I agree. Notts County win.
And Kelvin, quickly?
Yeah, Notts win.
Brilliant. Hayden, thanks for being with us on this busy week for yourself. Kelvin, lovely to see you. Thanks as ever. Charlie, thank you for watching. We'll be back next Wednesday for another episode of Team Talk. Take care and goodbye.